Moving.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo, people. And I certainly hope we're live on Twitch this time.
Who knows?
You know what? I'm going to look right now. Give me 1 second, guys. Twitch.tv/ThrillGeek. Not now. Maybe it takes a second. Nope, that's Super Nintendo World. That's not it. There we are.
I'm
Cool.
like getting down to the background noise of like Barry's washer.
I was-
Bum.
Cool. Yeah. All right. We are good on Twitch. Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. Hello, 4 people. Hello. Hello.
Hola.
Can you hear us? Can you see us? Michael, hello as usual, sir. How are you doing? Sorry, doing some technical stuff here.
Just beep boop in the background.
I am just going to call you by your YouTube name. Hello, FBC of Macam.
There's got
Thanks
to
for
be an
joining us.
easier way of saying that.
There's some people on YouTube, like I know the real name, but their comment pops up and my brain doesn't work that fast, so I'm just gonna call you by whatever pops up here on my screen, your YouTube name or whatever
If
it
your
is.
full name is not on your Twitter handle, I'm just gonna call you your Twitter handle.
It could be like somebody that I really know, but I'm looking at your comment. I don't have time to analyze your.
His brain doesn't work that fast.
It doesn't. Oh, you're getting ready to move. Well, you've been teasing this move a lot. When you moving down here?
Oh, my phone said that ThrillGeek is live. It's very aggressive.
He said, sorry, I'm on the wrong thing, uploading online. No worries. I appreciate you joining. Be sure to come back.
Please don't leave.
Please don't leave us. Please don't leave. The YouTube's been absolutely obliterated today with uploads and now a live stream and all sorts of goodies. So, oh, it's John. Hello. There you go. So anyways, guys, welcome to the live chat. We're going to get things going here. We're going to talk about some WandaVision again. I forgot. We never talked about episode 5. I don't even remember what the hell episode 5 was about.
It was the big one.
Oh my gosh. These episodes are it's so much crammed into one episode. It's like, but yeah, we're going to talk about that. And of course, we've been busy pretty much the last 24 hours with theme park stuff. Barry and
None
Emily
of us have slept.
went to Seven Seas Food Festival preview at SeaWorld. I was at LEGOLAND. And, of course, we all went to Mardi Gras on opening day, and we have not chatted about that yet. So,
And our feet have also not failed us yet.
yes, they have.
Yeah.
No, they have not yet.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'm going to get going here. I don't have intro music again, so I'm going to mute us for a few seconds, and then we'll jump into it. So give me 1 second here, guys. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ThrillGeek Podcast. I'm Clint.
I'll be Barry and Emily. It's
Okay.
fine. He wasn't
I'm
paying attention.
I'm tired.
Tired. You got no kids. You could sleep all day.
He's got 2 fluffy babies.
Yeah.
You got dogs.
Does your kids pee on the floor? Because
You would be surprised.
It depends on the time of day.
It depends on the kid. It depends on the time of the day. But I wouldn't. I wouldn't put it past them. But yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode. We are here. We've been busy, as Barry said. We're tired, but we do have stuff to talk about. Mardi Gras. We're going to talk some more WandaVision a little bit later. We'll save that at the end for those of you that don't want spoilers, because when we talk about stuff like that, we want to kind of dig into the juicy things about the show.
It's very hard to talk about that show spoiler free.
Yeah, especially
you can't talk about it.
Especially WandaVision. So that will be at the very end, and we'll give you another warning for those of you listening to the podcast. So don't have no fear. We'll push that to the end. But first things first, Universal Mardi Gras, which we have not talked about, is really interesting this year. We all went opening day to experience the what's the name, Barry? I know you're. I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
Wait, isn't it International Flavors of Carnival?
I was going to say, there you go. Good job, Emily.
Which pretty much describes that this year is mostly a food festival with
you get a gold star, Emily.
Instead of entertainment and parade with a food festival. So,
I mean, yeah. I mentioned it to you yesterday, Barry. Like, don't get me wrong. I really miss the parade.
Yeah.
However, I'm fine with the current state that it's in. It feels like almost like Horror Nights a little bit, where everything's spread out across the park and, you're not congested into one area and every other person on the planet is congested into one area.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously with COVID-19 restrictions and everything, they did have to spread it out, but I always thought the event should kind of be this way.
Yeah. I mean, I think the last couple of years we've all talked about maybe start spreading the event a little bit further out in the park. And they had done some little things like moving some stuff over near Mel's and stuff like that. But I like the fact that they have spread this out through most of the park, and spread some of the floats out through different parts of the park. Basically, they do have the floats out, and they have a couple of performers on the floats, and they are occasionally tossing some beads. But trying to keep everybody still sort of distance, or sort of get your beads and then go ahead and move on your way. Yeah, I think it's better. It's a little bit safer than if they try to have a socially distanced parade.
I agree with that. I just think that because I think I'm the only person here that went both days of that opening weekend. So comparing from like the Saturday to the Sunday, it was still like, oh. We have still not figured out the best way to do these socially distanced speeds. So, I mean, I know that they're trying their best. It's just I wish there was a little more control with that, because there were plenty of people who were kind of taking it a little too far. But, I mean, they're still wearing gloves, at least the performers that throw them out. And they're not throwing like a massive amount out. They'll kind of like target a select person and, go from there. It's not so much like the parade where it's rapid fire and you're kind of hoping you don't get pelt in the face with one.
Yeah.
It seems like as far as the floats, from what we've seen so far, they're rotating some of the different floats out. It's not the same floats every day.
Well, it's not the same floats every day. And then, like, for example, the second day that we went, like, the Gator was out when the Gator wasn't out the first day. The first day we went, there was a float out back by, like, Men in Black, and that wasn't there the second day. So I think they're just still kind of trying to figure out what exactly works and what doesn't.
Yeah, I think, when we were there on opening day, like I suggested to you, Emily, I don't know if they could, as far as crowd controls with the beads, because, people gather around for those beads. I don't know if it's going to get to the point where they have barriers set up and it's just going to become, a one-way walk, kind of like what they do with Halloween Horror Nights with like the area by the stage. And
yeah,
they're going to have people standing there telling you, keep moving, because we were there, people were gathering around, trying to get the beads and stuff. So it's going to be an interesting next couple of weeks as they hopefully tweak things, and I'm sure things are going to change with the bead throwing process. But yeah, we went on opening day. It was busy. That's a given. The first day of Mardi Gras is always busy.
That's an understatement.
We more or less just kind of did when all three of us got there, we did a power walk around and shot some video.
Two of you did a power
walk.
One of us struggled to keep up.
Yeah,
let's get this right.
And then we did check out the tribute store, which I gotta say, this maybe one of the most impressive tribute stores they've done so far as far as theming. And I mean, they pulled out all the stops, and each room has a very specific theme. Some things have been reused from other
there's
tribute
so
stores.
many Easter eggs in there.
And some things are props that were definitely from some Horror Nights houses in there. So I thought it was really well detailed, and that was where we did try some of the food.
You guys tried some stuff.
Yeah, I tried the cake pop, and you tried the was it Bananas Foster cheesecake?
Yeah, I'll eat anything Bananas Foster. So the second I was reading, like, they have like a little case where everything is labeled, and I was like, king cake, okay, we got a cake pop. Oh, Bananas Foster cheesecake. It's all over. And I just immediately was like, I want one of those. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I think we're kind of used to the tribute store food by now. It is mostly, they had some, like, andouille wrapped sausage and stuff like that in there. So, like, there are different choices if you actually are looking for food. But most of it's going to be desserts. And it's kind of hard to differentiate the desserts I had from there, from the holiday ones, and then from Horror Nights.
Yeah.
So they're kind of following like the same formula when it comes to kind of what they're pumping out there. At least on Sunday, I got to try a few of the actual food booths. Like we did the Germany booth with the pork schnitzel slider, which I would absolutely die to eat every single day of my life if I could.
I mean, that booth seems to be the one everyone is raving about, is the Germany booth. And
that was like $6 for the entire thing, and they give you chips. There's a huge pretzel there. We got the mofongo from the Puerto Rico booth. There's also like beef poutine that we got from the Canada booth. So they have all these different types of options, and they're all across the park. So you're not really feeling like you have to be shoved in one area like they kind of used to do that before. But yeah, I do agree that it's kind of more of like a food festival at this point, but it's like, kind of what else were they really gonna do with it, So it's like, if they're going to go the food festival route while they have to, I get that. I think that if this is popular and like the food booths stay, I won't be upset about it. I just really want my parade back, but that's really the only thing that feels like it's missing from the event.
Do you guys think this is something that Universal will do in the future? Do you think this pandemic has forced other parks or, the theme parks to, I mean, it has. This pandemic has forced theme parks to do stuff that is out of the norm. So do you think this is something, once things get back to normal, and, they could still do this? Because if you think about it, a lot of the food booths aren't on the parade route.
No.
And they could easily still do the parade with a lot of these food booths, because like we said, they spread it throughout the park. So it'll be interesting to see.
I think some of the food booths, I think they'll keep some of the food booths spread throughout. Obviously, once concerts are back and the parade is back, they're going to have to move a couple more food booths back to the central park area, just because, the amount of people who stream back and forth from the concert getting food and drinks and stuff. But I think if it looks successful so far, spreading the booth, we've seen, SeaWorld do the same thing, where like when the festivals first started, they kept everything by the Bayside pathway, and now they've spread everything out throughout the whole park, because you want people to go circulate the whole park.
Yeah.
But I think it's I hope the food booths stay in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if they will, if they do well enough. Hopefully, fingers crossed, next year enough people will be vaccinated and the cases will be down enough that we can have the minimum the parade come back. We'll see about the concerts.
Emily, were you going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, I think no matter who we're talking about, whether it's Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, who have you, they're all in the business to make money.
Yeah.
And if you have a, pandemic or not, if you have people coming in, they're willing to spend money on food and drink.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you bring it back every year? Maybe, sure, you have to put it in different places, but why not? If it gets people in, if you have lack of concerts may never come back. That's a possibility. That could be, something that they're not ready for, years down the line.
Yeah.
So if there's no concerts, maybe we're finding different ways to do the parade, but people still have to be distanced. What else can bring somebody in?
Mm-hmm.
Food and drink. So
Yeah.
I really don't think that this is like a one-time thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. The fact that they did this, the more spread out thing, and it'll be interesting to see if it's something that they hold on to even when the parade comes back, because logistically it's not that much different, considering all the food booths are spread out all over the place. So
they still got beignets. It's fine.
They still got the beignets. I missed the Bloody Mary, the giant Bloody Mary of Doom over by the stage.
Yeah, we didn't go over there.
No.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and I don't know if Emily saw, but I know they are having the bands from New Orleans up on one of the.
I didn't see that at all when I was there.
Yeah, they are. I guess they come out occasionally and are up on one of the floats, one of the big floats, performing. I saw posted on social media.
Was that during the week?
What was really bizarre was
we'll see.
The day we went on opening day. I think it was the next day they had the King Gator float out, and we were walking around like they don't have the King Gator out, and it was over there.
Yeah, it was weird. It was
Hollywood.
In Hollywood Boulevard, because I turned the corner and I was like to my boyfriend and I went and I was like, should we do the same route as yesterday? I know you want your poutine. And we turned the corner and I'm like, Gator! Like, I got way too excited about
John
it.
said that full-size Bloody Mary was like a meal. Yeah, it had some giant shrimp on it, and it looked
it was too much. It
ridiculous.
looked like too much.
So, all right, moving on really quick. Another Universal news bit here. They announced that Volcano Bay will be reopening February 27th after its lengthy refurbishment, and I believe they originally said on or before March 1st.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's surprising, especially spring breaks start happening, college spring breaks first. And if you've looked at some of the hotel pricing around that March time, they're definitely booked. I was looking, my birthday's last weekend in March, and I was just looking for like, Friday and Saturday at Cabana Bay, and it's like 200 something a night.
Really?
So
No.
it seems like people will be here for spring breaks. Obviously
we just
in a limited capacity.
We just paid $140 for a family suite a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so it's going to be, obviously based on probably their advanced bookings, it's going to be busy enough for them to reopen. And it's Florida, it's probably going to be warm enough. So
heck, it's been warm enough these last couple days in February. This has been
don't
even
get me started.
get me. We both at the same time. Don't get me started.
Don't get us
started.
started.
Why are we having thunderstorms in February? What is going on?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I was very grateful to wake up this morning in the middle of like a thunderstorm going, oh, thank you. My car will be washed. That's all I cared about. I was like, this car's looking gross.
I love your car wash as a rain as a car wash analogy.
Welcome to Florida. Basically what happened.
I mean that'll be great for guests and great for the people who have the 3 park passes, so they can go again.
Yeah,
I still have never been to Volcano Bay because I only have the 2 park pass.
I haven't been back since opening day, so
yeah. All right, what's next here on our agenda of discussion stuff?
I believe you were attacked by pirates yesterday.
Yeah, all sorts of pirate goodness at LEGOLAND. Oh my goodness. I was at LEGOLAND on Friday for a plethora of pirate festivities. Firstly, their all-new stunt show, Brickbeard's Water Sport Stunt Show. I want to say Stunt Spectacular. Stunt Spectacular.
It's a water ski show.
Yeah.
Don't hurt yourself.
That made its debut, and then PirateFest Weekends kicked off this weekend, and kind of culminating all into that, celebrating that, they had Nick Walenda out there, the high wire walker dude that's like walked over like Niagara Falls and between skyscrapers and all sorts of insanity. He came out and he did a high wire act up above. It started over on the Lego movie. Yeah, what's the Soarin' type ride, the flying
Yeah.
theater. He started on top of that building, and the wire went all the way over to the corner, the new section of the Legoland hotel, the pirate section, and so that was cool. That happened at about 2:00, almost like right when I got there, and I saw him a couple years back when he did the Orlando Eye, back when it was the Orlando Eye. I don't know what it is now, but he walked on top of there, so that was cool. Got to check that out. Then I went back in the park, and like I said, PirateFest Weekends is this new limited time event that they got going on at the park. It's weekends in February only. It only goes until weekends for the month, and all sorts of pirate activities you can get your kids can come up to this one person and get your official pirate name. There's a couple of shows.
And is the Pirate Hotel now officially open?
It is. I've been kind of confused with that opening, but it is officially open now. I think it's been open, sort of unofficially, because like I said, this event was like a big thing. Like they had Nick out doing the high wire walk and all sorts of stuff, celebrating all this stuff. But PirateFest Weekends is fun because they bring out all sorts of special activities, just like they do for Christmas, Halloween, hands-on activities. The one thing that's going on at Legoland that I got to check out and see kind of the start of is they're building a giant canopy over Miniland. And this is really cool because, I've been to Legoland several times with the wife and kids, and in the middle of summer, that Miniland gets really, really hot. Like there's no shade out there, and you bake out there. And so they started on that. The thing that really sucks about that, though, that I learned yesterday is Miniland is basically in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
And it is basically a hub for that park.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is completely blocked off now. All the entrances all the way around. So if you want to go to the Technics area, you have to go all the way around the park.
We hate walking.
It was a lot. And I slowly began to realize that you can't go into Miniland, go right over to the Technics area. You can't go into Miniland and go up to the adventure area where the Egypt ride is and all that.
Yeah.
You literally have to go around the whole park now. But
thank you.
Yeah, it kind of sucks, but it's worth it. It's going to be worth it. This shade canopy thing is massive. So,
yeah, I mean, I think it's been the biggest complaint about the park since it opened is just the lack of shade in Miniland, especially if you look at the other Legolands where their Minilands have a lot of trees and a lot of shade. Yeah. And this one, I mean, I remember when it opened, I was like, geez, this is going to be bad during the summertime.
It is. And, I love Miniland. I love going out there with the family and looking at all the different little displays and finding all the little Easter eggs. And, but during the summer, it's unbearable out there. So I'm excited to see this come. And what else was there? Oh, the stunt show, the Brickbeards Water Sports stunt show. Really cool show. They kind of upped the ante with hence the stunt show in the name now. They added a lot more. I'm drawing a blank. I forgot what the previous. It was pirate themed also. The previous ski show, but this one has a little more stunts to it. Hence the name. Like I said, there was that. It's called a flyboard. It hooks onto a jet ski, and the guy flips around, and it's like water jets. That was really cool. There was wakeboarding, jet skiing. They even had a barefoot skier, which always looks incredibly painful to me. I don't know how those people do it. But it was really cool. It was a really fun show. There's still a good balance of, you have to have humor in there for kids, otherwise they're going to be, with this, maybe not, but there's still a good mix of humor, but there's a little more action with this show, which I really liked. And they debuted a new character, Calico Jade. She's a new character. So it was really cool. I enjoyed it. It was a fun show. I said it on the vlog, and I even think I said it on Twitter. It's just it's so cool to see a theme park still keeping a ski show around because it's such a classic pastime for theme parks. SeaWorld used to have one. And I think Cypress Gardens, Legoland is that's the reason why they keep it alive, is because,
I think it was the Cypress Gardens. They were one of the original parks that had a ski show.
Exactly.
And it's something that I think it's cool that Legoland has kept up. As they've kept up some of the other garden parts of the park too still.
Yeah, and the Cypress Gardens area is still there. You can walk back and see the giant banyan tree. I think I said it right.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure when I was filming it for the video. Banyan, but the giant.
It's a banyan tree.
Banyan tree, yeah. That thing is so cool. So if you're ever at Legoland, take 30, 45 minutes and go to the back of the park and visit the Cypress Gardens area, because it's really cool. Just be careful during the summer. I've been back there in the summer, and sometimes the mosquitoes get pretty bad back there. So
it's called Florida.
It's Florida. It's gonna happen. But no, thanks to Legoland for inviting us out to check it out. I tried some food, and I tried some other things there, met some characters. You can check it all out on the video. I'm not going to sit here and yak about it on the podcast. You can go over to the YouTube channel and watch my video. So, cool.
So moving on, Emily and I went to SeaWorld Orlando and got to, thanks to SeaWorld Orlando for inviting us out for a preview of the Seven Seas Food Festival, which is, according to them, now the largest food festival out of all the Central Florida parks. They have over 200 food and drink items available at this festival. The festival is pretty much spread throughout the entire park. The one thing that's not being used this year is the Bayside Pathway.
Yep.
That is actually blocked off. And we did walk through there on our way from leaving the Ports of Call area, where we usually check in.
Eerie. Like, they still had like all the Christmas stuff up, but everything looked like it was like boarded up for a hurricane.
Yeah, the booths are still up.
Yeah,
the booths are still up, but everything inside the booths is gone.
Yeah, so, it was weird.
Isn't that the rumored area where the rumored new coaster is supposed to go?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I ain't confirming nothing. I'm just saying if they're just leaving it.
I know how to use my eyes.
If they're just leaving the Christmas stuff sitting there, obviously, they've got something planned. So, anyways, Seven Seas Food Festival.
So, we got to try some of the new stuff and some of the some returning favorites. What was your favorite thing out of what you had, Emily?
Cheesecake cone.
Yeah, everybody loves the cheesecake cones.
Literally every single festival, they somehow know I'm coming, and they're like, "What would be the best thing to give Emily?" Oh, let's just put scoops and scoops and scoops of cheesecake and cones, but let's make them different flavors and make it fun for her. And I'm like, I appreciate you for that. So when we went in, at least there was like a little media area, and they were kind of giving us, different options to try out. So they had like the white chocolate raspberry cheesecake cone, which was amazing. We also tried I don't remember exactly. It was like a glazed pork belly with white
pork
rice.
Belly bites.
Yeah, those are amazing. Oh my god, like crispy and tender all at the same time. I tried shrimp, and I bit into it and I spit it out immediately. So
was that your first time trying shrimp?
We aren't making too much progress on trying the new food.
Yeah, it was a tempura fried prawn, aka shrimp.
Was that your first time trying shrimp?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not alone.
I think. Well, I was talking. I called my mom at the end of it.
Really,
I
love shrimp.
Well, I called my mom, and I was like, on the way home, I'm like explaining, what we ate and stuff like that. And I explained it to her when I took a bite into it. Like, I got like this crunch, and it wasn't like from the shell of like the batter, I guess. She was like, did they leave the shell on the shrimp? And I was like, maybe. I don't know. But I literally took a bite and I just went, and I was like, oh no. No. And that stopped me dead.
She won't eat shrimp, but she'll eat scallops.
Yeah, well, we'll get that. But they had like lobster mac and cheese, which Barry ate and I won't touch.
Very good.
They had like a jackfruit sandwich. So they had so many different things for us to try. And then they did give us a lanyard. So we were able to go, throughout the park. And yes, I like scallops. Don't say anything about it. So I got like a scallop with a risotto with like a pesto cream, and that was amazing. We got like hush puppies, beignets, like all this different stuff. And that's kind of what I like about these festivals is like you take someone and you drop them in the middle of it, like me, who's very picky, but there is something for everyone. There is, different options for people to try. And, it's not so much of like, maybe not food festivals, but when theme parks have done stuff in the past of, here's our few options. You get a burger, chicken tenders, maybe something completely different. And then you get now a whole variety of things. So that's what I really like about the SeaWorld festivals is that they kind of cater to everyone. So if you just want desserts, go get your desserts. If you just want drinks, go get drinks. If you want your traditional stuff, you can. But it's just so nice to have a different way of going about things.
They got a good variety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a good variety. I tried the Impossible Slider, which was good. I've had better, but I mean it's a food festival, so it was about what you expect for a food festival.
The best I've ever
had.
Tell me more about this margarita bag that you guys got.
Okay, so like I'm innocently standing there. I'm taking pictures of the food, and Barry walks over with a legit bag of a margarita, and I'm like, what have you done?
It's Barry. I didn't get no drunken selfie video this time, Barry. What's wrong with you?
I only had 2 drinks.
So that's it.
And one of those was a margarita bag.
Yeah, one of those was a margarita. The margarita
was it really one drink?
The Mako margarita was really good, and then I had the Tito's Palm Lemonade, which is basically vodka, pomegranate juice, lemonade, very good. Emily had the Hurricane, which it's a hurricane.
Honestly, any hurricane, like
hold on. What? Rewind. Was it the Manta margarita or the Mako margarita? Because I saw some other website said it was the Mako or Manta.
Maybe it was the Manta margarita.
Yeah, I saw somebody
else.
Wow,
Barry, great reporting.
I saw somebody else. I saw like 3 or 4 different other blogs post it, and I think it was the. Let's just name it the roller coaster margarita.
Yeah. Margarita in a bag.
And
it came with an edible straw too, right?
Yeah, a couple of drinks.
But I was really upset that Barry just didn't like gnaw into it.
You didn't either, so.
As I was scared of it. As most food items.
Apparently it's like a lime flavored edible straw.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. Margarita, yeah.
Well, I was expecting maybe more of like a pixie stick situation, but I did like kind of chew on it, and I was like, this ain't breaking off in my mouth. What the hell is going on?
That's actually not a bad idea. They should give you like a little thing of sugar to dip it in, and then I think you're onto something there, Emily.
There we go.
On top of all the sugar that's already in the alcoholic drink.
Yeah. Just more. That was the thing.
Sugar. I got the Hurricane, and I took a sip of it, and I just like it hit all in the back of your teeth, and I put it down, and I went, tastes like Hornites, because every single Hornites mixed drink, it just hits you in the back, and then you're like, I accepted this, I'll drink it, it's juice. So I was like, if you really just miss Hornite, just go over to SeaWorld, get a Hurricane, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and Mardi Gras.
Oh yeah, that's right, Mardi Gras. Yeah, the little Mardi Gras thing.
Yeah, SeaWorld announced it like in the last week that they were going to do a Mardi Gras celebration. The next February 12th through the 16th, and then the 19th through the 22nd.
Sure.
So what's this all about?
They had some performers out. They did a little parade. Randomly did a little parade through the Wild Arctic Plaza area, and they had a stage set up, and they sort of alternated. A band was there sometimes, and then like a hoops circus arts performer was there sometimes. They had a DJ. The Gulf Coast Market booth is right next to the Wild Arctic Plaza, and the beer garden's there too. So and they had some decorations out, so it's just something a little bit extra, and they, the food festival only runs Fridays through Sundays, but the Mardi Gras will be on 2 consecutive Monday, Tuesdays. And then they'll have the performers out, and I believe the Gulf Coast Market will be open during that time.
Okay.
And that's where you get the beignets, the po' boys, the hurricanes, some other Mardi Gras style drinks.
So the Mardi Gras thing is just for the next couple weekends.
Yeah. It doesn't run long.
I'm wondering, it's interesting that this was sort of announced at the last minute. And I don't know if maybe the one at Busch Gardens did so well that they said, what the heck, we're going to throw one together.
Yeah.
Real quick. And, it was a nice little diversion in that area.
And it's just in that area, right? Over by Wild Arctic.
It's only in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only in Wild Arctic. So, and because you got the Glacier Bar there too. So, plenty of food and drink in that general area. It's really, really enjoyable. Some of the areas around the booths, different booths, they actually had decorated, like the Italian booth. They had a lot of different Italian themed decorations.
Did you keep the part in the? I was gonna say, did you keep the part in the video where we absolutely butcher all the Italian names?
Of course I did.
It's really bad.
And something I think the Seven Seas Food Festival's had for, I guess, the last couple of years, usually next to each booth, there's a little Instagrammable area that's got a display that's, that you can take pictures with your food and drinks, which is just a nice little touch.
Yeah.
For the food festival. And I believe this year it's all brand new booths, themed
they
booths.
Look like it, yeah.
They've really upped the quality of the booths. They're not just sort of a generic booth anymore. They're actually themed to each different market. So,
and you do have the video up on the YouTube channel for people to check out. You and Emily making your way around. You guys got to see Icebreaker Testing.
I have never seen Barry run faster in my life.
That's the blogger life.
Well, because I saw it start going up like the thing where it goes backwards, and I was like, Barry, it's testing, and I just see Barry go.
Get it, get that video, Barry.
It was so funny.
It actually,
you can just get right next to it. It's pretty cool.
From the angle that Barry shot that, that's the first close up. Everybody's been posting like aerial shots of it, and that angle, it whips over that little top hat thing pretty quick.
Yep.
I was surprised.
It
insanely excited for Icebreaker, but that made me a little more excited because it looks like it kind of whips over that little top hat thing.
Quiet too. It's almost like Velocicoaster levels of quiet.
There's
very
a lot
quiet.
Of
looks very smooth too. We got to watch it test a few times, and it's like looking at the restraints. Didn't see a lot of, any sort of wiggle or anything like that. Any vibration.
Premier coasters are usually fairly smooth.
Newer Premier coasters.
Yeah, newer Premier coasters. I've been on Mr. Freeze and those older ones. They're a little jarry.
Yeah, we had Flight of Fear at King's Dominion. That was
Flight of Fear. Yep.
Which I mean, the funny thing is, it's basically like Rock and Roller Coaster,
the spaghetti bowl. Yeah,
but Imagineering, whatever they did to the Premier trains, those trains run a lot smoother than those older spaghetti bowl trains did.
Which is still saying a lot because I find Rock and Roller Coaster to be extremely jarring. So I do want to know what those ones are like.
Compared to the other, what's left of the other Premier coasters from that time, it's not that jarring.
Isn't Rock and Roller Coaster Vekoma?
Oh, it is. Is it Vekoma?
I'm going to do research. Hold on.
I don't know. I thought the whole thing was Vekoma.
Oh, maybe it is Vekoma.
Yeah. I was like, what are you guys talking about? Vekoma and Rock and Roller Coaster, or Premier and Rock and Roller Coaster? Anyway, we're
But Premier made...
Keep talking. I'm going to do research.
Premier made some of the other spaghetti ones, though. Bowl ones.
Yeah, like the Six Flags ones. Like you said, the Joker's Jinx at Six Flags America and maybe a couple other ones.
There's one at Fiesta, Texas.
It's Vekoma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But no, Barry's right.
Not that Vekoma's known for.
Not that Vekoma's much different.
Not from that era, at least.
They're older coasters being smooth. I would say they're worse than Premier. But No, where were we with this? Icebreaker.
There's-
Yeah,
Just
we got way off
tangent.
topic. That's okay. Barry and I started nerding out
just
about coaster
shaking
talk,
roller coasters.
So no, yeah, Icebreaker looks fun. You know, it's definitely going to be a coaster that's going to be for the kind of in between demographic of not the hardcore coaster enthusiasts and not the little kids.
Me. It's
you
made
go.
for me.
So it'll fill a good little niche, which is why I think that I'm not overly excited about it, because it doesn't look too,
It seems very short.
Yeah, it is. It's short, but it's going to fill a void that I think SeaWorld needs to fill. You go because they have the giant B&Ms, the Makos, the Krakens, and all that stuff. And then they have Grover's Boxcar Derby. They don't have anything kind of in between, and I think this will be perfect. So, anyways, all right, I think that's it for theme park goodies. We're gonna move on to a few pop culture topics, and we're gonna talk about what everybody's been talking about the last couple days. Let me pull it up here.
What?
I'm gonna pretend this is tea.
How
Okay?
badly Justin Timberlake treated Britney Spears?
Yes, that's it.
Apparently he apologized, and I don't believe him.
I saw that, but yeah. If you read the comments, it's about 50-50 split on like too little too late, or thank you, Justin, for apologizing. It's so manly of you.
I am so glad. I saw something about her dad trying to get custody back of her businesses or something.
There's basically, if you really want to deep dive, Hulu did release like a whole documentary about it. So if you do want to know exactly what's going on, the big point that like other people were trying to make was that Justin Timberlake pretty much used both Britney Spears and Janet Jackson to further his solo career,
to launch his
by bashing their Britney's and his relationship, and saying like, oh yeah, I slept with her and stuff like that, to kind of give him the angle of like, I wasn't the bad guy in the relationship. And then of course like the whole Janet Jackson Super Bowl thing. So that's kind of where that comes from.
Got it. But no, we are going to talk about the other big pop culture topic.
The worst one. Oh, hello,
Oishi. I'm going to have to add Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake into the podcast show notes now.
Emily goes on a 5-second tangent.
The documentary on Hulu is actually really good. So
I'll have to see if I can watch it, because I had no idea. I just saw tons of conversation about Britney Spears, and I'm like, what is going on? Who is Britney Spears? But anyways, no. Obviously, the big story over the last 72 hours. It's been a couple days. Gina Carano is how you say her name, right?
She's non-existent to me anymore, so I don't really care.
She's non-existent.
She blocked me on Twitter.
Same. Oh my god, welcome to the club.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm not serious because
I thought you were serious.
I am. Well, basically, what
I don't tweet out hot
like,
takes. So
well, even if you liked a hot take about her behavior, she would just go through every single person, block them, and it's like,
really?
Okay, well, if you want to live that life, so be it.
Well, apparently Lucasfilm had enough of her shenanigans this week, and finally gave her the boot after several, whatever your opinion is, hot takes on social media about, just a variety of topics. I think she was posting, what was the first thing she got in hot water for? It was, gosh, I can't remember.
Pronouns.
Well, she was doing the stuff about the pronouns, about, transgender rights.
Yeah,
whether
I remember
or not
being something
to
about
wear
transgender.
a mask.
Yeah,
It was just kind of things where it's like, people are going to have different views. There's a different way to go about your different views, though, especially when you work for the largest media conglomerate in the world.
That's what I said on Twitter. I said, if I got a leading role on The Mandalorian, I would delete all of my social media accounts.
Yeah.
I would become non-existent.
But I mean, it's at the same time, okay, so then you do get a role on either the TV show or the movie or what have you. then you do necessarily maybe have a responsibility, not maybe so much to do good, but to not make yourself the villain. And, again, people will have different views on these different subjects. However, it's kind of, you need to know your place of when, if you do have those views, that's fine. Maybe let's not post them on the internet for the world to see.
Yeah.
Because then that's kind of my role with anything. Like, if you talk crap or anything like that, it'll come back to you. Yeah. If you post, my rule of thumb is never post something you wouldn't want your boss to find.
Yeah.
Never post something that could ever potentially get you in trouble with a work situation. So when you have thousands or millions of followers, it's going to become a bigger fire. And that's what happened.
Yeah, and that kind of falls under this, everybody was like, oh, I'm so sick of, the whole cancel culture thing came in, and you basically summed it up, Emily.
Yeah, it's not cancel culture, it's consequences culture. If you're, it's not so much like, oh, I don't like you, I'm going to get rid of you type of thing. It's, hey, I don't like your behavior. Your behavior is what's the issue.
Yep.
So if your behavior is becoming an issue, you can't sit back at the same time and go, oh, well, no one's ever going to say anything to me about it.
So Lucasfilm gave her the boot, and it'll be because at the end of the season, she had a pretty prominent role in the show.
Well, I think what was going to happen, whether rumors are true or not, was she was pretty much going to lead Rangers of the New Republic.
Yeah.
Which, bye.
Yeah.
I don't need you in there.
Well, I saw.
And there was some question whether it was
she was going to get her own spinoff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a discussion of, nothing official. There was discussion of whether she would get her own spinoff show, because let's face it, Disney's, with Mandalorian, they just fired off three. They got Ahsoka Tano.
Well, I think that rumor kind of came around before all those announcements. And the second all those announcements came out, I was like, ooh, Disney's onto that. They're just waiting. Basically, and that's what had happened. Disney was just waiting for the really big one.
And
the really big one happened.
Yeah, and of course that was comparing being a Republican to being a Jew in the Holocaust. So, that was.
But I mean, I think enough about her. She's been fired. The question will be: do they recast, or do they just write the character off the show? I would not be surprised if they just write the character off the show, because they could easily bring another character in.
Yeah.
To replace whatever her character was going to do. So
my favorite thing that I shared from this was, it looks like the Star Wars crawl, and it goes, Mandalorian season 3, Cara Dune crashed her X-Wing and died. LOL.
Her X-Wing. Yeah.
It's like, that's it. That's all you get.
All right, let's dive into something a little more uplifting.
Not cheery.
WandaVision. Episodes 5 and 6. So this is it. This is a spoiler warning for those of you watching the live stream.
You can eat yourself out.
Yeah, you can exit out now. If you're listening to the podcast, you can just don't listen anymore. Come back for the next episode.
Yeah.
So we love you. Goodbye.
All right, like I said before we started recording, episode 5. We just got done watching episode 6. I'm gonna let you guys start off about episode 5 and bring me back up to date, because I'm a little foggy.
I think episode 5 was the best episode so far. I could be wrong. That's my opinion, but I mean, the best one.
Episode 5, sitcom wise, we're in the late 1980s.
Family Ties, basically.
Slash early 90s, because we'll get to the timeline of episode 6. But episode 5, the theme song was very Family Ties.
That intro is literally Family Ties.
Family Ties
with coloring in.
Little teeny tiny bit of Full House mixed in there too.
Well, yeah, they have this little sequence at the end where it's them having a picnic, and I was like, that is Full House. But them coloring in, and the way that intro was presented, and then even just stuff in the set of that house, even down to the Kiss the Chef thing, that was on the island. Like that is literally from
Yeah.
Family Ties. So I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I like this.
the house now for this episode was very Family Ties. I definitely saw a little of little Full House in the house too. Just a mixture of the late 80s, early 90s sitcom type family house. But the big thing I think that comes out of this episode is Vision starts questioning everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, because we have, it starts basically with Wanda trying to calm the twins down and their little babies. And, Agnes comes in and she looks Wanda dead in the eyes and goes, "Do you want me to do another take?" Right in front of Vision.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was.
And he's like, "Did you not hear that?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And it's like, and then that's kind of what starts in his head to kind of be like, something's not right here. Besides all the other warning signs I've seen, like the fact that she literally just said that in front of me.
Yeah, I mean, and then of course the twins age up,
a lot,
a lot, right in front of Agnes.
Yep,
and she doesn't even really react to it. And Wanda continues to try to push away Vision's questions, but then we also get to see what's going on the outside, and Monica Rambeau is back.
Well, the big thing with that too is her getting her X-rays and them finding something in there that's not really supposed to be there. Which, if you read the comics, you know where this is leading.
But she now sort of joins forces with Jimmy and Darcy, and we sort of see the director who, he starts to you start to realize there's other motives going on, and then you also start it was the beginning of you start to realize, what is SeaWorld's motivation? What have they been really up to? Mm-hmm. You find out that Wanda stole Vision's body, which is
that was apparently supposed to be a end credit scene after Endgame.
Yeah, which once again, why does SeaWorld have Vision's body?
Yeah.
And what are they doing with Vision's body?
Exactly. That was the interesting thing to me is, that security camera footage that they showed of his body, it's all torn apart. And the only thing Thanos did was pop out the Mind Stone.
Yes.
So they were obviously up to something.
And while his funeral was never shown, don't tell me that the rest of the Avengers didn't bury him.
Yeah.
And I imagine, especially with Tony not being there, they probably would have just given him a burial, somewhere at Avengers headquarters or something.
Can we talk about that whole drone scene? Whew. That was intense. That's really where the turn with SeaWorld is they find an 80s, they realize that you can put stuff in their theories, you can put stuff in there as long as it's from that era. So we're in the 80s now, so they were able to find a Stark Industries 80s drone and fly it in, and it didn't change because it was from the correct timeline. And they think Monica just thinks they're observing, and then doesn't realize there's a missile loaded on the thing, and has it taken over. And they tried, which is so stupid. Did they really think a missile was going to stop her? It's like, let's do a drone guided missile. That'll stop Wanda. That'll stop her.
How much knowledge did these idiots think? They've been following these superheroes for years now. It's like, do they really think?
She almost defeated Thanos. Do you think a missile?
The only thing I think that could be sort of a takeaway is just the fact that not a lot is known about her powers. They know she can manipulate people's minds, and they know she can use her power as like a shield and to throw people around. But I guess they figured if they could shoot a missile quick enough, she'd be able to stop it. She wouldn't be able to stop it.
And then their doggy dies. What was there was something interesting about that. I can't remember what it was. The whole scene where their dog dies.
the kids are asking mommy to bring him back from the dead.
That's what it was. Yes. Yeah, that's what it was. That whole scene was really interesting, and she kind of like glasses over, and she, yeah, that was an interesting scene with the dog, and Vision shows up, and yeah, that was an interesting scene with the dog.
Yeah, I mean that. No, and of course, Agnes finds the dog dead. It's like, I mean, that seems rather convenient once again. And of course, we did sort of talk about Wanda leaves the hex, and that's what they're calling the force field around the reality she's created, which ties back to the comics, because in the comics her powers have been referred to hex powers because she's a witch, because of her Scarlet Witch name.
With everything that whole conversation that she has with them, and then when she goes back, though, that's when it turns red, and that's kind of when stuff is kind of going balls to the wall after that, and it's whatever she did going back in is what I think caused what happens at the end, and we'll get to that probably in a second. But I think that's the whole reason why that went the way that it did.
Yeah. I mean, and Vision finally confronts her, and she tries to roll credits and go to bed literally while he's trying to confront her.
She's like, nope.
And they literally face off against each other.
Yeah, that whole scene was really cool. They both do their hovering thing, and
for the first time ever, he literally screams at her.
Yeah.
Which you've never seen, Vision ever do to her, and I think it's interesting because it's with this. It begins in the previous episode, but with this episode, it's like, well, I should say episode 3. She can no longer control him. Whatever she did to bring him to life, she's not controlling it anymore.
Yeah, the whole line when they're both levitating, like I said, and he's screaming at her, what's outside of Westview? And then she goes, she's like, you don't want to know, I promise you.
Yeah, there's nothing for us outside of Westview.
Yeah.
And then of course the episode ends with a knock on the door, and she's like, I'm not doing that. It's like, because he accuses her every time, like he tries to question stuff that she does something.
The other thing, hold on really quick. The other thing that was really cool was, I think it was Vision. Vision points out that there are no other children in this entire
Someone finally
area.
Pointed that out.
And I was like, holy crap. He's right. There's no other children. And I was like, Vision's out here pointing out things that I wouldn't even noticed. But yeah, he points out that there's no other kids in Westview
besides Billy and Tommy.
Besides their 2 kids, which I was like, oh, mind blown.
Yeah. But there's a knock at the door, and then she opens the door to a stunned look on her face, and it's her brother. But it's not her brother from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's Pietro Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men universe,
aka Evan Peters. So there was like those rumors going around, right, that they're like, WandaVision's gonna have like a big reveal and like almost like Luke Skywalker levels a Mandalorian and blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, maybe they will. And my brain honestly did go to like Quicksilver, and like I forget the actor's name, and I apologize. Of the one that
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah,
Taylor Johnson. Taylor Johnson.
Him. I was genuinely like, okay, so it's probably going to be him. So all you see from that shot is the back of the head with like the silver hair. And I'm like, okay, cool. So like I was right. And then it flips and it's Evan Peters from the Fox X-Men movies. And I have never screamed harder in my life because it was such a cool twist that like you really weren't expecting. I thought it was awesome. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool that like they're, this is how the multiverse works.
And the funny thing is,
the different personalities.
They mentioned the shocking appearance. I don't even think he is the shocking appearance that we have yet to come. I think there's something else on the horizon that's definitely hinted at the end of the next episode.
I mean, I think I know what it is anyways, but I'll be quiet.
you know, that it ends with that shocking reveal, and I mean, this show, I mean, we haven't even got to the next episode yet, but like I posted on Twitter, it's like this show is already in 6 episodes set such a high freaking bar for the other upcoming MCU shows. It's not, I mean, this is one of the most creative, interesting things Marvel has done since the launch of the MCU of what now almost 12 years ago.
I don't know how they're
13 years
top
ago.
this.
Yeah, I mean it is amazing how this is setting up all these things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll go ahead and move on to episode 6 because it's like each episode more questions appear, and I feel like episode 6 blows even more questions out there of what the heck is going on. Because we jump into what's supposed to be the late 90s, but could technically
just
be
Malcolm in the Middle.
It's Malcolm in the Middle, which didn't really start till 2000.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting.
No idea. I never watched Malcolm in the Middle, so I was like, "What
I
show is this?"
I loved Malcolm.
Oh
in the
yeah,
Middle.
no. My boyfriend's like, "Can you watch Malcolm in the Middle now?" I'm like, "Oh my god."
So
I never watched it.
We finally move into the single camera comedy period. No, it's no more sitcom. So which you know really started in the late 90s. You know, but and really came to the fore in the early 2000s. So we move into the single camera comedy, and also one of the kids breaks the fourth wall and talks to the camera, just like Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's you know,
Pietro's like cool Uncle Pietro.
He is the cool uncle. The interesting thing too is Agnes is now part of the credits at the beginning. So which that is an interesting little turn.
One thing that
we're now and just, I think also the interesting thing since episode 5, and we're now bouncing between worlds in each episode.
There's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
And one thing that was, you know, obviously we start learning about more. We start learning more about Pietro, and what was really interesting to me was, I forgot who when he starts talking about it. I think one of the kids, or gosh, I can't remember. But he starts talking about, when he starts talking about like who he is, and he says, you know, details are fuzzy. And then he said, I had it here somewhere. Yeah, right here. I got shot up like a chump in the streets for no reason at all. So he has memories of the MCU Quicksilver, but he's the X-Men Quicksilver appearance-wise. That was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, in some of the in his he had, you know, there's one spot towards the end of the episode where him and Wanda are talking. And I think that's where questions start to be asked.
Well, doesn't he ask her like, "How did you do this?
How'd you do this?"
And she's like, "I only feel. I remember being completely empty or alone or something like that." Yeah.
She does. I truly think she doesn't know how it all started. And that really ties into who's the villain who started the wheels turning on this, because somebody did. And why are they doing this? What is the end to her using her power like she's never used it before? The only time she's been able to like create memories and realities is inside someone's head. You know, specifically one person, not an entire town. Which is the interesting thing we get to see is Vision lies to her because it's Halloween, and for the first time we see kids. Vision lies to her about what he's doing, that he's doing neighborhood watch. And really what he's doing is he's going farther away from the house.
Can I say that I was wondering what they were going to, his costume, he was a Mexican wrestler and she was a fortune teller.
Yeah.
Well, that's the costumes from the comics.
Yeah, the original costumes from the comics.
And that's even like when Pietro goes to do the quick change, he literally comes back as Quicksilver.
And same thing, the two kids look like one of the characters from their comics.
But that's just it. You know, they weren't going to come out and say, "Hey, this is I'm Wanda or I'm Vision."
Yeah.
You knew they had to come up with some kind of name for these costumes, and I was like, okay, fortune teller and Mexican wrestler. That was perfect. So sorry, Barry.
But I mean, this episode we've seen dark moments in this episode, but I feel like this episode did a lot of dark moments because as Vision wanders through the town and he gets further away from basically the center where they live, things are not as they seem. I mean, there's someone decorating their yard and they just keep doing the same thing over and over again, and she's woman
crying.
Yeah, there's just like one single tear.
Yeah. That was like, whoa. And then the whole thing with Agnes in her car, just
that's where I'm like, because if we're going with a theory that she actually is Agatha Harkness, when he does like the thing to like make her be conscious of everything that's going on, if she actually is supposed to be Agatha Harkness, why would she act like she's being held against her own will?
Yeah.
I really think that she was setting him up to question even more. And basically, I mean, she told him he's dead.
Yeah.
You died.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be here, and I think she I wouldn't be surprised, that she was following him and finding out where he went. But the interesting thing too is the neighbor, who was dressed as Frankenstein, he seems to be one of the other people who sort of knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Is it Herb?
I think it's Herb. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's not as evident as Agnes is about it, but it started in episode 3 that he sort of seems to know what's going on, and whether it's just her powers don't affect him as much and he's just playing along.
Yeah.
So he still has some modicum of control over what he's doing. I don't know, or is he part of the people who there's been what's the latest rumor that there was some cult in Marvel that because we haven't seen Dottie in a while.
I haven't seen anything about a cult.
But yeah, that's another one I've seen online.
All I know is people are talking about Mephisto.
Yeah, I mean, Pietro definitely sort of revealed he was like, oh well, it was smart to keep the kids in their beds asleep, and only bring them out for a special episode because that'll it won't be as traumatic for them, and you kept everybody together in the same relationships and you gave them better jobs, and he's sort of questioning her in a way that you wouldn't think if he's actually her brother.
Yeah,
he wouldn't be doing this, and maybe he knows more than he's really letting on, and
then we got to see Vision die again.
Yeah, I mean. You want to? There was definitely some moments in this episode that definitely brought the tears on, and just to see Vision start dying again for a third time was not.
I was sitting there watching it with all of us were watching. I was like, oh great, we get to watch Vision die again.
And
it's all for the kiddos.
We weren't, now that we're talking about that, a Vision reaches the end and pushes his way, because just. You got to remember how powerful Vision is, that he literally pushes his way out of the reality.
Yeah.
And as he's doing that, he starts falling apart.
What is he? This death was more sad than Endgame. What does he say? He says, "I just." He's like, I just want them to get help or something. Yeah, he wants to get.
Please help the people inside.
I was like, oh my god, this is more sad than him dying, in Endgame it was just you're dead.
Well, and that's what we've talked about before is as Vision becomes more and more aware, he can't help being who he is. And you got to remember, he is like And one of the reasons why Wanda was so attractive is his heart is pure. He has no ill will towards anyone or any living thing. He only wants to do what is the right and what is the best thing to do. And of course he would want to try, he would risk his own life to save these people. He's still not is he still not sure that it is Wanda doing all this or not?
But who even knows? As this is happening, we have, I think it's Tommy. I'm probably butchering that.
It was Billy.
But it was Billy. Where where his powers basically, Yeah.
Because Billy's pretty much got his mom's powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tommy manifests the speed powers first.
Yeah.
And then Billy, once Vision is in trouble, Billy's powers manifest, and he can feel his dad in pain, and that's.
But the thing is that Pietro looks at her and he's like, "Can your dead husband die again?" And it's like, "Oh,
how would he?" Yeah,
how
and then
would he know that?
How would he know that? That was the final sort of nail there of that conversation is like, how would he know that he's died before? But Wanda immediately goes into survivor mode, which we'll get to in a second about the commercial, and starts expanding the town.
She goes into full rage mode,
basically. And all this time going on the outside, we start to see the director of SeaWorld's true colors appear as Monica, Jimmy, and Darcy start questioning things more and more, and he kicks them off the base. And of course, being who they are,
they
knock out the soldiers they're with and end up in the server room. And Darcy starts digging into the files, and we see a file called Cataract. She finally breaks into the director's files, and what does that mean? Does that have something to do with what they were doing with Vision's body? Or my theory, and I guess a lot of other people, is like, are they using him to create weapons to stop the superheroes?
Yeah.
And then someone brought up an interesting theory. Is have we're going to get Secret Wars somewhere down the line.
Yep.
Have the Kree, and this time a lot of people have talked that the Kree are going to be the villains instead of the Skrulls. Have the Kree infiltrate during that 5 years. Did the Kree Yeah, thank you, Oishi. Oishi.
She's like, yeah, the Kree.
Yes. All right. No, have the Kree already started infiltrating and have infiltrated SeaWorld? But I think SeaWorld is definitely, I feel at some point it's going to be revealed not what it seems.
Well, same thing happened with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Pardon my lack of Marvel knowledge. I'm raising my hand.
It's like, what's happening over here?
The Kree or the green people from Captain Marvel, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we're getting into some deep Marvel stuff here.
Remember, the Kree have different skin colors.
Yeah.
You have the ones like Ronin who have the blue skin, but then you have the ones like
I forget their names, but they're the ones from Captain
the one
Marvel.
You have the ones that look like humans, except for their eyes are sort of pinkish instead, but they look like human beings.
Remember too in Spider-Man: Far From Home, Nick Fury, Maria Hill, not who you say they are, So
because
I feel like that everything was leading into SeaWorld.
That was one of the things the MCU has turned on its head, is that the Skrulls were actually not bad. Yeah. And that the and the Kree have been definitely displayed as a sort of like a fascistic race in the Marvel comics anyway. So they just sort of turned it on its head and sort of made the Kree more of a villain in the MCU than the Skrulls were. That the Skrulls were more held down by the Kree. That's the big theory going out is this beginning of the little things that will eventually lead to Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Or Armor Wars, because Armor Wars is going to be about Stark's technology falling into the wrong hands over like during the 5 years during the blip that
Yeah.
And so, you know what, this show is setting up so many
So much
things.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, the big ending, the big shocking ending is Wanda starts expanding her powers, the basically the hex, the bubble, wiping out the base.
The sword base gets turned into a circus.
Also, which I thought was funny.
Which Darcy had stayed behind. Jimmy and Monica head off to meet this friend of Monica's that's going to be able to get her back in to the hex. Darcy stays behind. Of course, Darcy being Darcy couldn't help herself when she sees visions crossing and runs over to there and then gets caught and handcuffed to a vehicle. And when Wanda starts expanding everything, Darcy gets sucked into the hex. We don't see what happens to Darcy, but we see what happens to everyone else as she basically turns the base into a circus carnival, which is ironic too, because usually carnivals would come and they'd be at the edge of town.
Yeah.
And so she turns into a carnival, and you just see the hex expanding as the director and a couple other people race away. They barely make it out. Jimmy and Wanda had already gone. And then it just ends on Wanda's eyes, you know, and then probably the coolest please stand by ending out of all of them was definitely this one, where it just ends on her eyes and then it just goes to please stand by. And just
yeah. The whole used car lot was cool too, because it had like 2000 or the years of the models of the cars changed and everything. And no, that whole scene was cool when her
yeah, that was cool. The other neat thing, and also it also makes the timeline messy, is at the movie theater, The Incredibles and The Parent Trap were playing.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Parent Trap was 1998. Incredibles was 2004. But one's about twins. The other one's about a superhero family. Little Easter egg there.
The kids pointed that one out.
We haven't talked about the most bizarre commercial so far.
Yeah,
what was that one about? I didn't get it either.
Mr. Barry, go on.
There's a lot of theories. And some of these ideas definitely come from Sin too. I can't remember which ones, because we just, you know, after we watch these episodes, we're just like blah 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 blah. What about this? What about that? But this is definitely the hardest to decipher commercial.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's got that 90s. You remember some of those
claymation
attitude kids food commercials from the 90s. It's very much
it almost reminded me like a Capri Sun or like fruit snacks or something like that.
Well, I mean, it's for a yogurt called Yo Magic, and this kid's stuck on a deserted island, and the shark pops out. And then it offers him the Yo Magic, but then the kid can't ever get it open, and you just see him slowly waste away until he's dead.
Yeah.
And then it was like Yo Magic, the yogurt for survivors, something like that, for survivors or something like that. This has definitely been the hardest to decipher commercial, because all the other ones have been very obvious tags on her trauma. Because we didn't talk episode 5. The commercial was for Lagos paper towels, which was basically about her when she accidentally blew up the side of the building in Civil War. I'm wondering, I saw one idea online that obviously the yogurt magic is the thing, but no matter how much magic she uses, it's not going to fill the hunger, the pain that's inside of her. And of course, Wanda is a survivor.
I saw somebody post, and this is kind of an interesting idea. I have it here on Twitter. Remember when we were talking about, how she feels like when Pietro asks her like how she made all this, and she said, I only remember feeling completely alone, empty, and then she said like endless nothingness.
Yeah.
And that kind of sounds like being on a deserted island. So maybe this commercial was just a way of her, just messing with our, the viewers of WandaVision's minds,
No matter how much magic she uses to bring back Vision, create these kids, it's not going to fill the hole the nothingness that she feels inside.
Yeah.
So that leaves us with each episode, as we've talked before, it leaves us with even more. It answers a couple of questions, but leaves us with even more questions. Who is Monica and Jimmy going to meet? This possible aerospace engineer. There's a lot of theories going. Is this Reed Richards? Is this how we get introduced the Fantastic Four, or at least the beginning, one of the members of the Fantastic Four into this whole thing? So it's MCU definitely is always good at surprises. They're usually not as good at hiding casting, but
how those things come into play is
for a single scene like this that can be shot possibly with a very small crew, possibly on a sound stage. It's a lot easier to hide stuff like that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, somebody said that the final, I never got confirmation of this, that Kevin Feige came out and said that the final 3 episodes are going to be an hour long.
Yeah.
Did you guys see anything about that? I did
not.
I did not. I mean, you got to remember, you got to subtract 7 minutes from each episode because the credits don't really count.
Yeah.
He has said that overall, as far as like running time, most of these shows are 6 hours long. So that could definitely, based on the 9 up, we got 3 episodes left. I could see that definitely timing out that way if you're talking about 3 53-minute long episodes.
Yeah.
So it's I mean we're definitely we talked about like who is this person, and I don't want to give any. I mean, I'm sure we all, Doctor Strange has got to show up at some point.
Multiverse.
And I and that was the other thing I talked about. Some people were like, well, why hasn't anybody called the Avengers? Like, maybe Sword didn't want the Avengers to know.
Exactly.
It's like, and it's one thing when it was this small anomaly, that, you got to remember, this is only 3 weeks after the world's still in chaos.
Yeah.
We're only like almost 3 to 4 weeks after what happened in Endgame. So the world is still in chaos. So maybe some people aren't paying attention as much to what is going on. I think it's we've got so many questions, and then I like I said, this show is just so good, and it's just to see, apparently I read something where it's like one of the most popular shows in the entire world right now.
God bless the people that gave up on it on like 2 episodes in.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever watched a mystery before? Because this show is a mystery. It is. Yeah. It is partially. It's not just.
Oh boy, is it a mystery.
And if this is the way the MCU starts on Disney Plus, this is amazing. I mean, let's explore different genres. I mean, obviously, it looks like Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be more of a straight up action adventure with a little bit of, I feel like, the sort of espionage Winter Soldier thing that the Winter Soldier movie had. Loki seems to be sort of like a modern day like time jumping through different parts of time show. I mean, we know She-Hulk's a lawyer, so it's going to probably be more like a law show. It's and that's great. This is something you can do with the TV. I'd like that you can do something different with the TV shows that when you compare to when you have 2.5 hours of a major motion picture.
Yeah, it's really cool to see Marvel, how they're doing these TV shows, and what they're doing, what they're using to set things up with. Because that was one thing that I was always wondering. We got so used to 10 years of movies. Now these little TV shows are starting to pop up on Disney Plus, and it's given us, a whole nother level of, story and, character development, and just a whole nother layer to the MCU. So I love WandaVision.
And the irony is we already know we're getting other more MCU TV shows. We don't know if we're getting Black Widow in May. I mean,
according
that is
to
once again
Chapek,
up in the air.
It's still coming. They're still coming to theaters. So
yeah, we'll see.
we'll see what happens like with that. So
we may have to get a group of people and rent out a theater. So
ooh, let's do it.
sounds like an idea. So all right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're gonna wrap things up here. We've blabbered on enough, and hopefully we spoiled enough WandaVision for you. Hey, you got a fair warning. So anyways. Barry, tell us where people can find us and all about our YouTube and all that jazz.
We are at ThrillGeek on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook.com/ThrillGeek. Please like and follow our Facebook page, YouTube.com/ThrillGeek. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have ThrillGeek Adventures every Wednesday and Saturday afternoon that will be coming to the channel. And right now we have Emily and I at the Seven Seas Food Festival, Clint at LEGOLAND for Pirate Weekends, and then all three of us at opening day of Mardi Gras. So every Saturday and Sunday, and some bonus episodes in there every so often, once in a while. And also most of all of our live streams will be on YouTube. ThrillGeek.com. We do have a website still, ThrillGeek.com, for the latest in theme park and pop culture news. And of course, you're listening to the ThrillGeek Podcast, wherever you can get a podcast. You can get the ThrillGeek Podcast.
You can catch my random vlog of me wandering around Epcot because I had been since the parks reopened. So I was like, oh, this is new. Oh, this is new.
Yeah, you had 2 like extra vlogs this week. So
yeah. Like I said, I haven't been to the, you guys have, especially Barry, I've left the Disney coverage for you guys where I've been going to Universal more than anything. And I'm going to try and start going to the Disney parks more often. And
it's not like you don't have a free pass.
Exactly. Quote free pass. So no, I went to Epcot and made a lap around there and checked out. I saw the new Leave a Legacy wall, so you can check that out. And so be sure to check out all of our goodies, and we'll pump some more out for you. So Emily, thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
I always forget to ask, where can people find you on social media?
You literally ask as I take a Twitter break.
I know you announced today you're going to be taking a break from social media. So where can people find you on social media to talk to you?
I just need to not be looking at my phone 24/7. But
completely understandable.
Yeah, I still have my Twitter. I still have my Instagram. I still have my YouTube. Everything is at Geek Notice. Facebook, not so much. But I pretty much live on the ThrillGeek stuff. I do stuff for you guys more than anything. So, and I enjoy that more. So, I mean, you can come look at my random memes, but that's about it.
What are you going to say, Barry? Oh, you're getting kisses from...
He's getting fishy kisses.
Yeah.
So anyways, guys, thanks guys for listening to the podcast. Thanks for chatting in the chat room. We appreciate you guys as always. And, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care. Be safe.
Bye.
See you in the parks. Stay safe.
All right. Give a few minutes of silence so I can edit. So anyways. All right. Stop that. Yeah, I literally pulled up a article on episode 5 while we were talking about it because I can't remember what the hell I ate for breakfast this morning. So my brain was,
yeah.
But then I skimmed over it and I was like, okay. I just needed a refresher.
We've already watched episode 6 twice, so
yeah. It's just that so much happens in those episodes. Like I slowly digest that episode, and episode 6. It was cool because it was a Halloween episode. I'm looking at the Halloween decorations in the background, like.
Yeah.
It was a good episode. I liked it. It was good stuff.
My brain literally just remembered that I'm going to a media event, so. I'm like, oh, let me put a face on.
This is the $ThrillGeek makeup tutorial by Geek Notice, ladies and gentlemen.
Would you like to buy our $2 highlighter? Because I'm cheap.
By the way, tell people, where are you going tonight?
Oh, I'm going to Sir Henry's Haunted Trail. I forget exactly what their Valentine's thing is called, but they do like a Valentine's themed haunt every Valentine's weekend. It is called Love's Revenge.
Hopefully,
so there's 3 trails. I'm really hoping that all the dirt has dried.
That's what I was just gonna say. That I was like, hopefully the weather will clear up for you.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm like, I don't got a ring light.
Yeah.
I have no way of making my poor boyfriend walk backwards through these trails, and I know one of us is gonna like slip and fall anyways. So I'm like, oh, maybe I can't get a POV shot of this.
Looks
I'll
like
try, but
I'm looking at the radar right now, and it's looking pretty clear, so you should be good.
I'm just hoping the ground is dry, like everything is dried up,
muddy
because
mess.
It's a lot out there. It's a very nice area, but if that's not dry, it's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
But you basically can go. You get your ticket. They give you like a specific time. So we're going at 6:30. So I have to get in the car soon. But you basically get access to the 3 trails. They give you like almost like a randomized thing. So like maybe they'll be like, you go through this trail at this time, and it kind of just helps with social distancing. But you get to go through the 3 trails once, so it won't be a terribly long night, but enough to, get some coverage out there for us and just have a good time. And I
feel
some
spooky. Feel some spooky.
So they do a really good job out there, whether it's Halloween, Valentine's, anything. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, I had fun when we went for the Halloween last year.
Yeah.
They were one of the few haunts doing something, and that was my first time out at Sir Henry's. It was pretty fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, because
the
we
whole
did
kind
the
of outdoor thing was really cool.
Yeah, because we did the Valentine's Day one last year, and then I did the Halloween one with you guys, and then they announced they were doing it again for the Valentine's, and I was like, we'll go.
Yeah.
We'll kind of try to make it our tradition if that's a thing every year, because what else are we going to do? We make it spooky.
Alrighty, well, we'll wrap it up so you can get ready for that, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.